The story of the Garden of Eden may reveal a deeper and more mysterious aspect of the story. Instead of a simple deception, the serpent in the Garden of Eden may have been a rebel angel who tempted Eve and formed an intimate connection with her. This theory is familiar, as many ancient texts suggest that the serpent's role was far more significant than simply offering the forbidden fruit. The Book of Enoch suggests that celestial beings, particularly fallen angels, developed an attraction to human women, especially Eve. This interaction between the divine and the human could have marked the beginning of a conflict that still endures. Different interpretations of the Bible have offered diverse views on the serpent's role in the Garden of Eden. Traditional interpretations see the serpent as a direct representation of Satan, the archenemy of God responsible for corrupting humanity. However, some schools of thought, including Gnostics and Christian theologians, view the serpent as a personification of Lucifer, the angel who rebelled against God and harbored darker intentions. Genesis describes the serpent as more cunning than all animals, and the Hebrew word for cunning, error, can also imply wisdom or discernment. This view suggests that the serpent involved Eve in a deeper plot involving intimacy and forbidden knowledge. This knowledge could have been more than just intellectual but also carnal intimacy, symbolizing the loss of innocence and the act of disobedience. The idea of intimacy between Eve and the serpent in biblical narratives, particularly those focusing on apocryphal and Gnostic texts, is deeply symbolic. Biblical stories often convey spiritual truths in a coded manner, transcending the simple understanding of beneficial and evil. Eating the forbidden fruit was more than just a simple act of disobedience, it was an initiation into forbidden knowledge. Mystery and tragedy surround Eve's first son, Cain. Some ancient interpretations suggest that Cain's lineage, marked by a divine and demonic heritage carrying the serpent's seed, might result from Eve's union with the serpent Lucifer. This idea is not exclusive to apocryphal texts or mystical interpretations. In Genesis 3 verse 15, God says to the serpent, "I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. He will crush your head, and you will strike his heel." People often interpret this verse as a reference to the ongoing conflict between good and evil, symbolized by the struggle between Jesus Christ, the woman's offspring, and Lucifer and his followers, the serpent's offspring. Several ancient texts reinforce the concept of spiritual and physical lineages by discussing the interaction between fallen angels and humans. The Book of Enoch describes how the Watchers taught humans to practice forbidden arts such as sorcery and warfare, which corrupted humanity and led to the world's destruction through the flood. If this serpent seed influenced Cain and his descendants, it implies that evil is not merely a moral choice but a fundamental aspect of our nature. However, this theory raises questions about evil and free will's complexity and how to overcome this core human trait. The Bible presents a glimpse of hope through the figure of Seth, the son of Adam and Eve, born after Abel's death. We see Seth as the progenitor of a righteous lineage faithful to God and his commandments, while Cain represents the seed of the serpent. This duality between these two lineages reflects the spiritual battle we all face internally, the struggle between sin and righteousness. The Gnostic texts often speak of the struggle between light and darkness, between divine knowledge and ignorance of the material world. The physical world served as a prison for the Gnostics, who believed that only spiritual knowledge could lead to true salvation. The Gnostics saw Eve's fall not as a sin of disobedience, but as an awakening to deeper knowledge that could liberate humanity from the limitations imposed by an imperfect creator. Eve's true sin was not disobedience, but the pursuit of forbidden knowledge that connected her to the serpent intimately and irrevocably. The Book of Enoch speaks of the fallen angels, or Watchers, who taught humans not only war and sorcery but also forbidden secrets related to the body and sexuality. Their angelic parents corrupted the Nephilim, both divine and mortal, as a result of this obsession. Certain apocryphal and Gnostic texts explore an intimate carnal connection with the serpent, which could be a metaphor for the bite of the forbidden fruit. This intimate relationship between Eve and the serpent could be the real cause of Cain's lineage sin. If Cain truly embodied the serpent seed, Lucifer's influence persisted in his descendants, elucidating the profound conflict between good and evil in our history. The story of Eve's fall and Cain's possible connection to Lucifer raises questions about human nature and the extent to which we are products of our origins or choices. Some theologians and ancient scholars believe that Cain bore a mark that separated him from other humans, representing the inheritance of Lucifer in Cain and his descendants. Generation after generation passed down this mark, transforming his descendants into tragic figures characterized by restlessness and sin. The Nephilim, the giants born from the union between fallen angels and human women, are also associated with Cain's lineage. According to the Book of Enoch, the Nephilim filled the earth with violence and sin, leading God to decide to cleanse the world through the flood. The idea that Cain's descendants or the serpent seed may have survived the flood and continue to influence humanity resonates deeply in various religious traditions. Another apocryphal text in the Book of Jubilees suggests that the Nephilim, though in smaller numbers, continued to exist after the flood. They were powerful but corrupted beings who continued to exert influence over humans. This suggests that even after the flood's purification, the serpent seed remained on earth, perpetuating the conflict between beneficial and evil. The question of free will versus biological inheritance has been one of the greatest philosophical and spiritual dilemmas throughout history. The narrative of Eve's fall and Cain's possible connection to Lucifer leads to reflection on human nature and the extent to which we are products of our origins or our choices. If Cain truly embodied the serpent seed, the notion of inheriting evil from a genetic lineage becomes a compelling prospect. However, Christian tradition and many other spiritual views firmly believe that human beings, regardless of their origin, possess the power to redeem themselves and pursue the path of righteousness. The notion of spiritual lineages as discussed in apocryphal and Gnostic texts suggests that not everything is predetermined. Even if some carry the serpent seed, there are also descendants of Seth, a line associated with the promise of redemption and salvation in Genesis 4 verse 26. The dichotomy between Cain and Seth is a reflection of a division that persists to this day, with the battle between the forces of righteousness and evil playing out in human history, often associated with moral and spiritual conflicts. This battle involves individuals, lineages, and ideologies that promote dualistic views. We can see the story of Eve's fall as a metaphor for the human condition itself, a constant struggle between the pursuit of knowledge and the fall between freedom and responsibility. The serpent representing Lucifer may have offered Eve something she deeply desired, but the price of that knowledge was the separation from God and the introduction of evil into the world. In conclusion, the story of Eve's fall and the serpent's role in the story resonates with modern audiences due to the universal themes present across various cultures and religions. The story of Eve and the serpent is a central theme in the Bible and other religious texts, offering hope and redemption for humanity. Even after falling, God offers humanity the chance to redeem itself and find the way back to Him. This theme is central to the Christian narrative and resonates with many other spiritual traditions. The story of Eve and the serpent reminds us that even in the depths of error, there is always an opportunity to find redemption, seek forgiveness, and start a new life. In the modern world, Eve's story teaches us that even in the depths of error, there is always an opportunity to find redemption, seek forgiveness, and start a new life. This message of hope remains at the end of the story, reminding us that no matter our origins or how far we may have strayed, there is always a way back, and on that path, we find the true essence of humanity. The story of Eve and the serpent raises profound questions about the nature of humanity, the role of temptation, and the power of free will. The serpent, often identified with Lucifer, offers Eve an existential choice between blind obedience and the pursuit of knowledge, even if it carries significant consequences. This duality between obedience and disobedience, knowledge and ignorance, is a theme that resonates deeply in many cultures and religious traditions. The story also underscores the significance of knowledge itself. When Eve eats the fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, she not only disobeys God but also gains a new level of consciousness. This awakening to the reality of human existence represents the ability to discern between righteousness and evil, a skill that, while burdensome, is also a source of power. The serpent symbolizes Lucifer, an entity that, according to various traditions, represents the light of knowledge. The name Lucifer means bearer of light in Latin, which is both a blessing and a curse. By imparting knowledge to Eve, Lucifer empowers humanity to discern and forge its path, despite its inherent dangers. The complex and fascinating tale of Adam and Eve's banishing from the Garden of Eden provides deep insights into the conflict between innocence and knowledge. The fall of Adam and Eve is not just a punishment, but also an opportunity for spiritual growth and connection with God. Various mystical and esoteric traditions, like the Gnostics, explore this view, believing that the serpent in the Garden of Eden was necessary for humanity to achieve a state of deep knowledge of divinity and the universe. We can see the story of Eve and the serpent as a celebration of the human ability to question and seek the truth, as well as a warning against the dangers of pride. The lineage of Cain and Seth, the descendants of Adam and Eve, continues to have significant ramifications for humanity. The seed of the serpent, mentioned in Genesis 3 verse 15, establishes a continuous conflict between the forces of righteousness and evil. The interpretation of this seed can be both metaphorical and literal. Some view the story symbolically as the presence of evil in the world, while others, especially in esoteric and Gnostic traditions, interpret it more literally as a lineage that carries within it the influence of Lucifer. This idea of a corrupt lineage is not new in various cultures and mythologies, as seen in apocryphal and Gnostic texts. Described as imposing and violent, the Nephilim, a race of giants born from the union of fallen angels and human women, embody the spiritual corruption resulting from this mixture of lineages. The link between the lineage of Cain and the Nephilim raises questions about whether the battle between good and evil between the descendants of Seth and Cain could have roots not only in the spiritual realm but also in the biological one. Regardless of our origin, the central message of Christianity and many other spiritual traditions is that we always have the power to choose our path. Even those bearing the mark of the serpent or the influence of Lucifer can seek redemption and turn away from evil. After killing Abel, Cain struggles with his destiny and bears the mark of his curse. God places a mark on him to protect him from the vengeance of others, suggesting that even after committing one of the worst imaginable crimes, Cain still receives a form of divine mercy. In conclusion, the story of the Garden of Eden offers profound insights into the conflict between innocence and knowledge, the role of the serpent in the story, and the potential for spiritual growth and redemption. As we approach the end of this journey through one of the most fascinating and debated stories of humanity, we must reflect on what all this means for our understanding of Eve, the serpent, and human nature. The story of Eve and the serpent is a timeless exploration of human nature, exploring the desire for knowledge and the consequences of our choices. Regardless of our origin or circumstances, we always face choices that shape not only our future but also the future of all humanity. Eve's choice to eat the forbidden fruit, which many believe to be a manifestation of Lucifer, offers her an opportunity to question and question. This curiosity and desire for knowledge define the human experience, but it also brings the burden of consequences. The fall from the Garden of Eden marks the beginning of humanity's journey in a world where righteousness and evil coexist, and each of us must choose our path. The idea of free will is fundamental to understanding the lasting impact of this narrative. If we acknowledge the transmission of evil through lineages, we must also acknowledge our agency in overcoming this inheritance. We don't have to emulate Cain's violent and rebellious lineage. The story of Seth offers an alternative line that seeks justice and reconciliation with God. In Cain and Seth, the seed of the serpent and the seed of the promise represent our inner conflict. The choice to redeem oneself is not easy, and even those who seek beyond salvation like Cain can find some form of divine mercy. The message of the Bible and many other religious texts is clear: forgiveness and redemption are always available to those who seek them, even those who seek beyond salvation. The story of Lucifer parallels Eve's journey, as Eve sought something more powerful and knowledge that would elevate him above his position. However, this pursuit led to his fall. God promised redemption to humanity but condemned Lucifer and his followers to eternal separation from God. This distinction highlights the unique nature of God's relationship with humanity despite our initial failure. The story of Jesus Christ, often referred to as the second Adam, comes into the world to repair what was broken by Adam and Eve's fall. Through his sacrifice, Jesus offers humanity the chance to overcome sin and restore the connection with God. Everyone has this choice, irrespective of their origin, lineage, or past mistakes. This ancient tale challenges us to explore profound themes of temptation, knowledge, and rebellion. Was the Garden of Eden simply the start of an eternal struggle between good and evil? Or does it hide truths that could reshape our understanding of humanity's beginnings? If this story intrigues you, don't forget to like and share it with your friends. Subscribe for more captivating stories, and let us know your thoughts on this biblical narrative in the comments below.